Welcome back, everybody. I think my next project is going to be another lathe upgrade or modification. I've done quite a bit on making things to kind of improve the lathe and, some of the aspects of it, as far as, like the carriage lock screw. This is very handy. I like being able to just lock that whenever I need to. I modified this so I could change into the larger AXA style quick change tool post. I really love this tool post. But a couple things I kind of want to do is get rid of the bozo nose knob that's on here. That's kind of in your face red. Some people might like it. I don't know. I like that it's unique, but I kind of don't like this big red knob here. So a couple things I want to do is make a new knob, maybe out of brass. I've got some brass up there. Just, something that I made. This is just an odd red ball. Very functional, but something I want to change. The other thing is this. I described it in another video, but this here, I'm tired of having this thing laying around. So what I want to do is make an actual mechanism that stays here and has a handle on it, something like that, and I can lock it and unlock it so I can move this thing around as I need to without bringing out this, this wrench every time I want to rotate this. Loosen it and tighten it, loosen it. I mean, this is functional, but it's just not quite, it's not homemade, it's just a nut or a screw that I turned down to fit in here, but I think I can improve that and do a little bit better. So I plan on using some of the materials I have. I'm not sure if I want to make it out of steel material or, bring you over here, or aluminum, but this is kind of the materials I'm thinking about using. This one's too small. I want something a little bigger than that if I'm going to do it. Something to give a little more purchase on the top of that. So I thought about using this. That covers quite a bit of it. Kind of makes sense to me. It would be nice if I covered that entire top, but this would also work. So that's one option. Of course, I would machine this down and I would only use a portion of this. And the idea is to kind of mimic or mirror these designs. This is the one I made for the carriage lock, mimicked similarly after the designs on the, this is a tailstock quill lock, and then of course we got the power feed engagement. Anyway, it'll look very similar to that. I do think I want to use aluminum or steel. I don't want to use brass, I don't think. Now the handle I might use brass, but the other option is I could use aluminum. The only thing I wonder about the aluminum is that going to be too soft and wear out over time? Probably, but I could always make another one. It's options. So that's going to be the next project, but I just want to give you an introduction, show you what I'm thinking about doing, and then I'll bring you over to the work area over here, and we will kind of evaluate the parts that we have, maybe go through some other materials over here, see if there's anything that might make a little more sense, and we will kind of gather the materials, figure out how we're going to do this, and then we'll continue on. So hope you enjoy this video. Appreciate you sticking with it, and let's get after it. Let's continue on with this, the handle for the top of the quick change tool post. Again, it's going to be the mechanism that locks it into place so it can't swivel. I'm going to use one of two different materials. I know if I use aluminum, it will wear out over time, but that's okay. I can always remake one. But I think I'm going to try to use this steel scrap. I know some of you out there say stop using mystery material, but it's got the diameter that I want, and I think it's going to work out. And if it doesn't, we're going to ditch that and I'll go with some other steel, or we'll use this aluminum rod. This is all 1.25 inches, I believe. So it's going to give me decent coverage over the top of this tool post and be able to lock it down. I think the height of that, I want it to be, it needs to be high enough to where I can put a handle in it and be able to lock it and unlock it. So I'm thinking if I do 1.5 inches total, I can go up 1 inch and then I can do an angle on the top of it. I can do an angle on the top of it and get a handle going. It is a little bit high. 1.5 inches is, you know, it's a little tall. If I do 1 inch, I think I like 1 inch better, but that gives me 3/4 inch to thread the rod in. That's plenty. I think I like the idea of 1 inch better. So what we're going to do, inch and a quarter. What I'm trying to think is I want a decent height, but I need to have enough of a flat in order to mount this angle. I think I'll do 1 inch. And then at 1/2 inch, I'll start angling it down until the rest of the diameter. I'm going to start again with using this material. First thing I want to do is face it off clean. I want this to be perfectly flat. It's a pretty rough material, rough face right now. I'm going to work on this, and if it doesn't improve with some carbide inserts or different cutting material, right now I was using high-speed steel, then I'm going to switch. I'm not even going to bother with this. So I'm going to bring you over here, and we're going to turn this down and see what kind of quality we have on this piece. And if it doesn't improve just by facing it off, then we're going to switch gears and go with some other material, or we'll use the aluminum. All right, we'll see how this does. Like I said, I want to put this material in here, do some test cuts, and see how it faces off. There. Gonna put our nut back in. I'm gonna try a carbide this time because I was using high-speed steel and I did not like that finish. So what we'll do is turn this on and we'll see how this goes. Here we go. We'll just see what kind of turning that the carbide insert is going to give us on this material. Well, clearly my tool is too low, but regardless, let's see how that turned out. It's still chewy. I'm going to abandon this material. We're going to go with something else that I know is going to have a nicer finish. This was just some reclaimed material my brother had, so we're not going to use that. But we'll try to clean it up a little bit more. Yeah, I just don't like that. Okay, so let's abandon that material and we'll use something else. Well, I think I'm going to go ahead and use this mild steel. This is the same mild steel that I actually made the new internal sleeve out of. So it's 1 3/8 I believe, but it'll fit flush on top of it. And what we're trying to do, I decided I would draw this out so I had a little bit better of a mental picture of what I'm trying to do. So this is what's already there, and then this is a part that I'm trying to remake or make new. And then just an idea. I'm not sure how the handles will end up turning out, but what I want to do, I decided I want to go 1.5 inches. So I'm going to mark this 2 inches. Well, I'm just going to mark it 1.5 inches. I'm going to face it off, and then we'll bring it out 1 inch, 1.5 inches, maybe 1 inch and just a little over, because I'll face the other end. And what we're going to do is, I want basically up here, I want a 1/2 inch or 3/4 of an inch rise, because I'm going to have this little detail. And then I want to have another 3/4 of an inch on the slant, in order so I have enough meat to drill and tap my handle, whichever bar I decide to use. But these are 1/2 inch pieces of round bar, so these can't be 1/2 inch. I got to have more than that. So hopefully you can see all that. But that's what we're going to do. I know this stuff's good material, so we're going to use this, and that's going to be the plan. So let's get back at it. So this is going to be the material we're going to use. Just be able to get it in there. Just a little bit here. Again, this is what's really nice about this large spindle bore. I can bring that material in. What we're going to do is face this off, which actually, now that I'm thinking about it, let's go get this cut off first. You can see me use the bandsaw, and then we'll come back and we'll start cleaning up our part. Let's get this guy plugged in. We're going to see if there's any interference. I'm going to do a test run here, check the camera, and then we'll go from there. Let's turn this on. I may need to change the blade. There we go. Much cleaner cut. It's not even hot like the hacksaw would do. Bizarre. Crazy. There is our starting piece. This is going to work out good. Here we go. Huh. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is, now that we have our workpiece cut out, we're going to face off both ends. Again, that finish turned out pretty good with that bandsaw, and my arms aren't sore. It's just warm, it's not hot at all. That bandsaw was a very good upgrade for the shop. So let's get this chucked up. We'll face both sides off. That's going to be the first step to kind of square the whole thing up, and then we'll determine our next steps. That there. Bring this in. And I'm going to use carbide since I've already got it in here. Why not? And let's get this faced off. I'll use that in a second. What I want to do, I already know, I might change my mind. I already know it's a little bit low, So let's go ahead and fix it, since we know it's already a little bit low. So I want to raise it up just a little bit, and we'll see how that does. All right, let's face this thing off, and there we go. Let's go. Looks good. Good enough. All right, let's chamfer the edge, and then we'll flip it over. Welcome back. Welcome back. Let's go ahead and get the workpiece out of the lathe, and I'll bring it over here, and we'll measure up what our plans are and formulate what it is we're going to do. So we've got this squared off, faced off on both sides, and the idea is to machine it to, here, I'll turn this like this, so that it has a little bit of a step here, and then a flat portion, and then it'll have an angle to finish off this where the handle will go. So we just kind of want to measure the total depth. Again, the total depth is a little over 1.5 inches, so it's 1 inch and 5/8. I'll write that down in case I need that dimension, because when we drill our hole, I need to not go beyond that. So I'm thinking when we drill our hole for the screw, if we just go in 1 inch, and I'm talking about the screw that goes down into the compound to hold it, 1 inch up into this thing is going to be just fine. So I'll just make sure that my depth of cut for that threaded rod will be no more than 1 inch, 1.25 inches, and we will be fine. Again, the beauty about this is nothing needs to be exactly perfect. But what we do kind of want to do is figure out what will look nice. I'm thinking maybe come up 1/4 inch, bring it in at a slight angle, and then finish it up. I want to leave a 1/2 inch at the top. Let me grab a marker. So the taper at the top will be a 1/2 inch. So somewhere in here will be the taper later on. But the first thing we're going to do is come up about 1/4 inch. Again, none of it needs to be precision, but yeah. So that's what we're going to do. We'll bring that up a 1/4 inch. And then it's going to taper in, and then we'll finish this face off, and then we're not going to do this part until last because I want to have enough meat on here to drill my center hole and do all that stuff. Now this portion here could pose an issue when I'm trying to do the taper. So maybe I should try to keep it simple for now. And then later on, we can look at adding that feature. So it's all about order of operations. I'm still trying to think this out. Let me do some thinking and we'll bring you back. There we go. There's our starting piece. We'll bring you back over and we'll start making some plans and dimensions, and I'll tell you exactly what I'm looking at. It's going to go for what I drew out on that paper. Welcome back. The first thing we're going to do, I decided, is, you know, we'll probably be making some mistakes here, but regardless, I'm going to go ahead and kind of get this stuff out of the way. I'm going to be using the tailstock, and we're going to go ahead and drill our hole to start with. That way if we mess up here, we can start over and we're not wasting a whole bunch of other time working on stuff. So I should have had everything out, but let me get the tailstock and everything out and ready to go. We're going to do a center drill, and then what we'll do is drill it. We're only going to go in about an inch and a 1/4, and that's good enough. And then that'll take care of the hole, which we will then tap, and we'll test our screw and make sure that stuff's working, and then we'll get on to the finished dimensions of the outside portion of this. I'm going to pause you here. Let me bring you back because I'm going to get my drill chuck and everything set up. All right, welcome back. We're going to try something new too. Just need a little bit of oil for this, but I've got a new cutting fluid that I want to give a shot. It was recommended to me by others out there. You know who you are especially, but you know, I'm always trying to improve finishes and improve my capabilities, and I'm sure that a lot of the products and the fluids and the oils and things I'm using are not really purpose built. So I'm continually learning, but let's get back to the project. Like I said, the first thing we're going to do is just get our hole drilled. We're going to tap it and just make sure all of that's cool before we get to working on the outside, the OD of everything else. So first thing we're going to do is put a center hole in here, and then we'll drill it out to depth, and then we'll continue on. Here we go. That's going to do. Let's get this cleaned off, and then we're going to switch over to our drill bit. There we go. I got my drill bit ready, and what we're going to do is drill this out to about an inch. I've got it marked, and 1 and a 1/4, something like that, and we'll be good. So then we'll have our hole, then we're going to go and we're going to tap it. So let's get this moving. There we go. I'm quite happy that I've figured out my tailstock and how to use that and how to drill holes and center bits and not just break things. It's pretty crucial to your projects when you're going to be working on stuff to be able to use that tailstock. So quite happy with that. What I'm going to do now is pause, get this cleaned up, and the next thing I want to do is just tap it, because if we don't have a successful tap and our bolt doesn't go in there, then we need to move on and come up with something different. So I'm going to cheat a little bit, put a little chamfer on here just to get my tap started. There we go. I want to try to start it this time here in the lathe rather than mount it up. All right, we got her done. This is the start of what we're doing here. The idea is I'll get this screwed in and I'll Loctite it in and tighten it up as tight as I can, and that'll be the initial part, and then we'll of course turn this down and we'll get our length later. But for now, this is going to work. So now we have our part that we can start working with, turning down, and making all of our dimensions the way we want them. So I'm not worried about this end. So what I want to do is flip it around and start working on all the angles and all the other stuff that we need to do to accomplish finishing this part. So let's go ahead and get this flipped around. And again, you know, remember, it's going to have just a little bit on this end. Get in there, right there. And then basically I'm going to have just some features on there to make it look kind of nice. So get that tightened up. Let's see how it looks. It's not quite centered. Let's see. Nope. Let's do the first thing. Let's try it like that. That's pretty close. All All right, welcome back. This is what we're going to do. We are set up to cut this chamfer on the top of this. I'm just going to go down a 1/2 inch, whatever the angle ends up being, it ends up being, but that's ultimately where the screwed in handle is going to go, and that angle. So I'm also going to try brazed carbide. If that doesn't work, we'll switch over to carbide insert or something, but I just want to see how this does. So let's get moving. Could use this one. Now, let me get this set up and then we'll get that angle cut. All right, welcome back. This is what we're going to do. We are set up to cut this chamfer on the top of this. I'm just going to go down a 1/2 inch, whatever the angle ends up being, it ends up being, but that's ultimately where the screwed in handle is going to go, and that angle. So I'm also going to try brazed carbide. If that doesn't work, we'll switch over to carbide insert or something, but I just want to see how this does. So let's get moving. All right, let's go ahead and chamfer the top of this, and then what we're going to do is bring it out, because I just want to make it's completely non-functional, but I want to make a little bit of a chamfer just to make it kind of look a little nicer, like it was custom made. So let's get this chamfer on here, and then we'll keep going. Do that again. Okay, I like that. Breaks that corner. I'm gonna go ahead and soften that up with a little bit of emery cloth. I got a new piece here. Actually going to cut it. It's a little bigger than it needs to be. Sure that's good on those scissors. All right, and I'll be careful with the knuckles. go with that. I think it's fine. We can polish it up later if we need to. All right, the next thing we want to do, loosen this up, bring it out, and we want to leave a base on there. And what we're going to do is come down, and then I want to bring an angle down. So I'm going to bring it back, and what I want to do is put an angle this way. So I need to switch up my tooling, kind of get the profile that I want, and then we're just going to, so this is just going to be a little narrower than the final base portion of this. It's pretty good. That's pretty concentric from eyeballing it. Again, none of this is crucial. I just want to make sure that's really good. So what we're going to do, I'm going to pause you here because I want to rearrange my carriage so that I can come in this way and run an angle that way. I just want a little feature down here on the bottom. I'll bring you right back. All right, let's give this a shot. The idea is to come in, bring it at an angle, and slowly keep carving that off. It's going to be a little tricky the way that I'm doing it, but this is how I want to do it, so this is the way I'm going to do it. And again, it's just a feature. It's by eyeball. It's not critical at all. Just something I want to do. So let's go ahead and get started on this feature. It's not flawless, but that's smooth. It's not flawless, but that's smooth. All right, so that's the top of this done. Let's continue on. Not a whole lot more to do. Next thing is let's finish cleaning up the part. What I want to do is kind of polish up this end as well. We did that to the rest of it. We might as well finish up everything else. Don't want to have part of it looking kind of dumb. Okay, now we're back here. What we're going to do is clean up the rest of this, and then we'll continue on. That is good enough. Now, I haven't had this out here, I haven't blown this end out, but there we go. So there is the initial part for the replacement of this top nut, this top screw that holds this on. It's a little taller than I wanted, but I think it's going to be fine. Total engagement there. That's going to give me plenty of room to put another handle here, and I can lock this thing, unlock it. That's right, it looks proud. Make sure you can see that. It's proud, it's tall. Yeah, that's what we're doing. All right, the next thing to do is determine what thread size I want to put on this chamfer here, and we're going to drill and tap for a handle. Probably out of this material here, and it's going to go like that. So that angle will be a little higher. It'll be proud. It'll clear this other one. Yeah, making progress. All right, that is going to be it for tonight. It's a Friday night. I've been working on this. I'm dirty. I'm ready to just go in and chill out. But there's part one. Part two, I guess. I'll go ahead and close this out. Part two is going to be finishing up the handle on top of this and getting this thing mounted and testing it out. But I like how this is coming. It looks okay. Looks like it belongs there. A little tall, but it's going to work out. All right. Thanks for watching. I hope to see you on the next one. If you want to see the completed project, stay tuned for part two. That'll come out very shortly. Thanks for watching.